Welcome back. I'm Tyler here with my brother Ryan. Today we are doing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 3-round mock draft. Right tonight we did all 100 picks in the first 3 rounds, and these will be Tampa Bay Buccaneers picks. Before we do that, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to get notified whenever we create new content. We are doing multiple 3-round, 7-round, and also individual mock drafts leading up all the way to the 2024 NFL Draft, which will include all these Bucs specific videos like this. Also, too, we're trying to get to 3,000 subscribers by the end of the Super Bowl. So just 10 or 15 new subscribers per video. So this is your first time here and you like our content, it's the easiest way to help us out by hitting that subscribe button. So Ryan, let's go to the slides here. First pick overall, Buccaneers are picking 26. And we were joking too. It's not that it was intentional that Leontu Latu fell. I liked all of our picks leading up to it, but we were joking when we're trying to figure out really what's the best thing for Tampa Bay, because Tampa Bay literally needs everything. I think outside receiver 1 and quarterback. So and left tackle. I would say they're fine. I would say they're fine there, even though Mike Evans is a free agent. But when we saw that Leontu Latu was available, it's like I bet they are running to the podium to go get Leontu Latu. His issue, I think, he's a little bit on the older side, and not that we're seeing guys play a lot older, but he also has an injury history. He's had to medically retire as well, and then he came back. But you could say you can make a clear argument he's probably the best edge rusher in this class, but it's just because with those injury histories, I think that is going to make him fall a little bit in the first round. I think he's still going to be a first round talent, but it's just where a team's going to take him here. And I think for the Buccaneers, this is the exact type of person. Like, they won the division this year, they wanted to keep trying to win the division. Obviously, like they're in a win now mode. I think this guy can come in and be an immediate contributor when it comes to QB pressure and then overall sacks.
Yeah, and I think if you watch our season recap of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I do think that was an area that they really needed to improve in, was just getting pressure on the quarterback. The secondary definitely needed some help covering up some of their faults as well. So the more pressure that they can generate, the better. And I really like this pick. He's the most developed pass rusher coming into this class. But like you said, he is older, has that injury history. I also don't know how much more room to kind of grow into that. Like, physically, I think he's done really developing. With that being said, I mean, he's still 6'4", 260. Like, he's not a small guy by any means. I really question whether or not he has he tapped all of his potential is what I'm saying here. And,
well,
with older prospects, that's usually the big debate.
Yeah, well, and that's where too I think he's perfect for a team like Tampa Bay right now, who's like in a weak division, come in and contribute and cause these young quarterbacks or Derek Carr a lot of trouble, even though it doesn't take much for any of them to get in trouble, so to say. So you look to the right here. These are some other potential options that the Buccaneers could take here. Chop Robinson, he ended up going to Baltimore and pick 32. Jordan Morgan, you can see there, they wanted to address the right tackle position. He was taking a pick later, so they was available. Kalen King, then the cornerback. They also need to address the secondary as well, but we're going to get to that here in a second. Kalen King was taken by Tennessee, I believe, at pick just a couple picks later, pick 38. So
I do want to add one thing. Chop Robinson to me is like almost the exact opposite of Leontu Latu. Young guy who's extremely like talented and explosive, but is just like he needs so much help in terms of like pass rush moves. It's just I don't know. That just made me laugh, like the juxtaposition of the 2 first-round edge guys. So let's go ahead and move on here to address the secondary. TJ Tampa out of Minnesota here at 57. There was kind of this block of secondary guys. You can see Kalen Bullock went to Green Bay to pick after this. But again, just a solid guy that can come in and really help out this secondary. If he doesn't work out at outside corner, I definitely think you could try to kick him into maybe play safety in kind of a cover 2 scheme. He's not the most linear speed athlete, but he is explosive. He has really good length, and I think he would be a really good fit in this secondary. So again, helping out the front 7 here, we're going to help out the secondary as well with another really talented player here. So
yeah, they just need so much secondary help in general here. So we were trying to figure out who's a secondary guy that we like, and there's a couple guys that were starting to come off the board. Javon Bullard, safety, went a couple pick 54. We don't have him here. Josh Newton, I think, went at the beginning of the 3rd round, so just a couple picks later. But as well, those if they did end up going edge rusher early on, Odessa Isaac out of Penn State, I think that this could be an interesting one. I want to mention that specifically just because he was the last edge rusher. There was a huge gap if there's overall top prospects here. He's the last edge rusher, and he was ranked about 60th, I would say. Next edge rusher wasn't until outside the top 100. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how teams evaluate. Like, if we want an edge rusher, we're going to have to get him now. And I think TJ Tampa immediately helps provide a lot of help to the secondary. But if they go get corner early on, and let's say they go and get Kalen King at pick 27, at pick 26, this could be a very good Odessa Isaac spot here, because there's going to be a big drop off until really it's probably day 3 and until you can go get an edge rusher.
Yeah, because I mean, I think you mentioned it from pick 60 on. There was nobody taken until the compensatory picks of the 3rd round, where I think Gabriel Murphy went to Jacksonville, if I'm not mistaken. So like, there's a big hole there of edge rushers. So let's move on to their 3rd pick, and we went with Christian Haynes, the interior offensive lineman out of Connecticut. Big guard, and I think he would be a really good fit. I mean, you throw him in there. They invested some in the offensive line last year with Cody Mock. Tristan Wirfs at left tackle, I think, is a really solid guy. But Ryan Jansen missed his, I believe, 2nd season in a row due to the knee injury, and he's getting up there in age. And I think just putting another body in that group, especially one that, as talented and athletic as Christian Haynes, and we'll see all the combine testing numbers here in about a month or so. But a guy like that, I think, could come in and really round out a room, and to me, at the very least, add very solid depth in that group. So, yeah,
that's where it's similar to the receivers as we talked about, and kind of unlike the edge rushers. It's almost like you could wait a little bit to go and get an interior offensive lineman, because it is pretty deep, and then the tackles are pretty top heavy overall, but the offensive line class as a whole, I would say, is fairly deep. Go get a guy like Christian Haynes here at pick 89. I think helps out a lot. I think one thing that could be interesting as well is if they went center. I think Zach Zenner could play center, but he was also playing right guard at Michigan, so he went back and forth. And so I think also that too.
One thing with our analysis, Zach Zenner, the injury kind of dropped him down a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. I think Zach Zenner, he did end up getting selected, but it was after this as well, I think, to Detroit as a kind of like a luxury pick because they made it that far. So, but I think Cedric Van Pran from Georgia, I think could be an interesting center option here as well. We have Cooper Beebe, and then I think Max Melton is also a corner. They hadn't addressed a secondary position as well. I think that this could be a guy that they could select here who was available also, and it was taking the next pick.
Yeah. So let's move on and do our kind of final recap here. So the 26th pick, Laiatu Latu, older but really talented and probably the most developed edge rusher in this class. At 57, you get a cornerback with really good length and some versatility. And then at it's not 84, it's 91 or 89. Sorry,
89.
89. You get Christian Haynes, a big athletic offensive guard, to kind of come in and at the very least add some solid depth behind the guys that are already there. If not, get some playing time right away. And to me, I think if I'm a Bucs fan, I'm pretty happy with this. I think you addressed a lot of the major holes from 2023 and hopefully put yourself in a better position going forward, getting Baker Mayfield some protection and helping solidify this defense and causing some problems for some of the younger quarterbacks and Derek Carr, as you said, in the division. So I think it's a solid group. I mean, what are your overall thoughts?
I like it. I think they address a lot of key positions with a lot of great players as well. It's funny, you go look at PFF and it's like when you're doing a mock draft and the team needs, it's like running back, tight end, guard, center, edge rusher, linebacker, cornerback. Like, so it's essentially every position. Like there's more positions that they don't need help in than they do.
Yeah.
Sorry, there's less positions that they don't need help in than they actually do. And so I think they got immediate day one or potential day one starters at every single position here in the first 3 rounds. And all things considered, to make it to the divisional round, they're going to have later picks. So I think that it was a perfect or not at close to perfect, I think, of a mock draft as of right now. Looking forward to seeing how those players rise and fall throughout this mock draft season and throughout the draft season as a whole. just kind of see where they might land.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be a really interesting process. There's a lot of really talented players in this group, and we are recording this kind of before the Senior Bowl, before the Combine, and so I mean those are big draft timeline items where you could really see players rise and fall. For example, like Christian Kirk was a late day 2, early day 3 prospect, had a fantastic combine, and then all of a sudden was taken in the second round by the Arizona Cardinals. So like there's a lot of movement that can still happen on the board, but right now I think this is what we're going with for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Let us know down below what you thought of that, and go ahead and like and subscribe, and we will see you guys